lobby that's all set, and it is made up of DesRow and Yoshi, and it's going to be a pretty awesome PVT.
That's right. PVT it is, and it's going to look pretty similar to the last matchup, I think, in terms of races, but I don't think in terms of play styles. And I think that Yoshi's going to be having to play pretty hard to upset DesRow, but we shall see what happens.
All right, here we go. Starting the game, counting down from 10. We are entering into this here game. Make sure we got this paused. Boom. All right, as this loads up, it is going to be on King Sejong Station. I swear that we've played only 2 or 3 maps today.
It does
King
seem that way,
Sejong
doesn't it?
Station, Overgrowth, and maybe one other, but that's about it. But nevertheless, that does make us quite familiar with these maps. But as we are jumping right on in the lower right-hand corner, it is our pink, once again, Terran. His name is Yoshi.
And in the top left-hand corner, in the yellow Protoss, the man you've been waiting to see, it is DesRow.
So before we get too far into this game here, once again, we just want to mention that the sponsor of the day is Mythologic. They have been supporting us and supporting a lot of our esports endeavors here very well. But actually, they're not. They're supporting us, but they're supporting us in the events that we participate in. But they're actually supporting the players. They have donated $250 to boost the prize pool here, so we'll be able to pay the top 6 players to at least have entry expenses covered, which is really awesome going into tournaments like this. It allows a lot of players to come out. Looks like DesRow needs to pause here for just a second, which is fine, because we can talk about stuff.
Yeah.
They're pretty awesome. They really like what we're doing here with esports in Michigan and the region, so that's really means a lot that they want to do that. So they've provided $250 to tack onto the already $500 prize pool, which doesn't even include the entry bonus from these people. So we're talking almost $1,000 prize pool today, factoring everything in for the StarCraft 2 tournament at Youmacon 2014. And as well as also some cool Razer mice and stuff that they've donated. So
yeah, mouse pads and T-shirts and all sorts of neat swag.
It's gonna be pretty awesome. But going into the game back again here, just going to see that DesRow is going to be building a gateway.
And we've got that gas going from Yoshi, so he's getting that early. And we don't have the barracks going just yet. But we should be expecting probably that pretty soon, and we'll be getting, that now that we've got the 150 minerals barracks going down, so we can probably expect to see a Reaper in this game.
Yep,
Probe heading across the map now to do some scouting.
The interesting thing here is that Yoshi is not building his barracks right up by the ramp as he had done previously. He's kind of building it back a little farther.
So yeah, that gateway is trying to kind of wall off the entrance into those probe line. He doesn't want to get harassed by the Hellions. He doesn't want to allow those to get in there. So playing pretty defensively with that placement, and now the SCV is moving across the map to do some scouting as well.
Yeah, DesRow doing a little bit of poking here of the SCV building on that barracks. That's always annoying to just be doing your job and having a guy come up and stab you in the back with a taser.
But you know those SCVs, they're dedicated. They'll keep working.
Yep, it won't go there.
So more stabby with lasers, laser stabbies.
Yeah, he's really giving him a hard time here. It looks like he's starting to get down into the red health as he does. Oh, nice, a little bit of nice micro there, and he is able to save it, but the probe is hot on his tail. The shield of the probe is worn down, but he just keeps on running that. Oh, nice, actually was able to take out that probe. So a little bit of micro games here to start out the game, keeps everything interesting. So good times.
It looks like there's an engineering bay block on DesRow's Nexus as well. Oh, but he does kill the SCV that was building it.
Yeah, so will not be able to get any scout out of that. He has, however, been into the base of DesRow. He saw a gateway, a gas, and a cybernetics core going down. So pretty standard stuff here, pretty busy. Talked to DesRow before the game, and like, you know, how are you feeling prepared for the wrath that is Yoshi? I mean, both these players are master, DesRow and Yoshi. And going into the past long games I've seen, DesRow did get the opportunity to kind of watch Yoshi play the last time, and he's like, nope, it's going to be quick. I was like, all right, well, we'll see. That's what everybody says.
They do indeed, but I think that DesRow is going to be able to back this up. The engineering bay does get canceled, and now that Nexus is going down.
I'll leave my judgment for after the game. Because if there's anything about Yoshi, he's been surprising because he's come up against some really good players, and DesRow definitely is a really good player, probably one of the favorites of the tournament here. And but at the same time, Winter was the favorite of the tournament last year coming in here, and Yoshi fought him tooth and nail.
Yeah, he did. So two Hellions coming forward, getting some shots fired by the Mothership Core, and they're just going to turn right around and head back out.
Ooh, here's a pylon going down here on the top right corner. I'm talking a little quieter just to be sure that we don't give away any super hidden secrets.
Super sneaky.
Looks like that is going to be going down. Curious to see what he's going to end up putting back there. Probably a Stargate, I would guess.
Yoshi's moving a Widow Mine now across the map. I like how he just kind of marches those things out there.
Yeah, I mean, might as well get it out there. He has not made any medevacs yet. He has not even got a starport in production, which is a little bit unusual. Usually the starport and are going down at the same time. DesRow now has his probe selected, and it is going to be a Twilight Council. All right, so maybe some either proxy blink or DTs. Hard to say exactly which one, as the builds look fairly similar. He does have an observer coming out of the Robo facility here. Warp Gate is finishing up. No proxy pylons, though, so we won't see any real super heavy-duty aggression here. Yoshi just doing his standard thing. He's setting up his defenses, and he's just getting ready for the day here. He's got a bunker out front, so to stop any scouts coming in. Does not have any vision on the back rocks yet, but a little too early to be too concerned about that. But these two Hellions coming in are looking for probes, but there are not any just yet. But actually, yeah, one of them will go down by the Mothership Core, so one less.
And it looks like it's been revealed what we're going to be seeing. Oh, pause again. Still got to get those settings straight.
Yep, and but as we said, I just really don't think that from what we've seen of Yoshi that you can count him out against anyone. I mean, it's kind of a frustrating playstyle to play against because it's almost like one of those that's like, gosh, I know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to try and get in their head, and then maybe that goes sideways, kind of thing. So you just got to play it cool, play it calm, and almost just kind of play for the long game, play into the style. But we will see here as a Warp Prism is coming out of the Robo here. It looks like it is going to be DTs coming out.
Yeah, and I think this could be really effective, frankly, because looking at what Yoshi's kind of got in his main base at the moment, there's not a whole lot that's going to be able to defend against this,
Yeah, and this is really cool. I do like this play because it's something we haven't seen against Yoshi so far. But also he has a decent bit of defense here. He's got 2 tanks. He's got a lot of Marines, actually. So going up against DesRow, maybe it's getting his head a little bit. And there is an observer here, and I think he sees it because he's kind of juking around to try and follow it here. But
now that Warp Prism did fly over a mine and took a shot.
Yeah.
So he did see the directionality, and he did notice that. He dealt a lot of damage. So there's got to be some questions in his mind as what's going there.
And there is an observer here on the backside. DesRow just making sure that the path is clear here for it. Starport going down with the Tech Lab, likely going to be for Ravens like we've seen last time. He has gone Banshees before, but more often than not, the Ravens seem to be what he prefers. But he's kind of just moving right across that. This is very uncharacteristic for kind of what we've seen Yoshi here a little bit. And he's going to go for the back door here with these Marines and tanks. And this is a cool little aggressive push here you can do on this map. You siege up these tanks, you can just barely hit the probes up here with a scan or getting that Warp Prism up there.
So the Warp Prism is moving in now. There is only room enough for 1 scan currently.
That Raven is on the way too, so that's going to provide detection against these DTs.
So DT has moved in. First blood has been taken.
Yoshi did pick up the Marines with the medevac up into the natural expansion of DesRow here, doing quite a bit of damage. 8 probes have been killed to only 3 so far for DesRow. So the economic damage has been great, and but still more SCVs are dying here. 5. It looks like the DT is kind of auto-targeting the Marines here, so they're going down. Not as many worker kills, but that's kind of okay with Yoshi. But where did that Raven go?
Yeah, he kind of was rallied across the map, and so now there is a tank there, and the Raven's there, so this DT is running for his life.
And now he's going to go ahead and warp in some more Zealots here to kind of support that. And he wants to take out these add-ons and tech labs here, which is going to be effective in the long run, really slow down Yoshi's tech a bit.
Yep, and so those Zealots do fall. The Warp Prism kind of is just hanging out.
But now that DT is just kind of sandwiched in the back there, tank taking shots, but great micro by DesRow picking up that DT. Did not end up losing it. and it will live to see another day here. But now we go back into the base. He is getting +1 armor upgrades going through, but there are Banshees coming out, and Banshees have been definitely one of the many annoying tricks that Yoshi has up his sleeve, and that can really be poking around. He did not take out the rocks on the left side of DesRow's base. He just kind of exploited that little cliff there to try and get some damage done, but DesRow here is going to be moving down the left side, maybe just checking to make sure there's no proxies left, but Banshees here being super useful to kind of clean up the Zealots here left over from DesRow.
And DesRow still has that Warp Prism alive, so he can continue to do this types of harass as much as he wants, really.
Looking at units lost, it's 12 probes lost to 13 SCVs, so we are relatively even here on the economic losses both players have taken. But these 3 Immortals and Stalkers are going to be pretty beefy coming up here into the base of Yoshi, but he does have 5 tanks here along with the bunker, so they're not going to be able to just waltz up. Oh no, but he's moving those tanks back. I think he's a little concerned that there may be some pressure coming up the backside, but he really needs to have those sieged up when these units come up the ramp here, because any shots that he can take early to take the shields off those Immortals are going to be super important.
And now the Stalker and the Immortals are moving up. They're starting to target the, looks like the supply depot.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get in here, but he's going to make a nice attempt at it.
He did some decent damage. I mean, he only lost 1 Stalker.
Yeah, took down a supply depot and the bunker, but Yoshi here is just going to go ahead and rebuild that. DesRow is going to be taking a 3rd base, and I think this is what he needs to be doing. He needs to be expanding as much as possible. I mean, Yoshi got a little bit uncharacteristically aggressive there, and I mean, he killed some workers, but he didn't really gain an advantage. He kind of stayed even with his opponent.
Well,
so,
I mean, even though the worker count is relatively even, there was a lot of time when those SCVs weren't mining in the main. They were just kind of walking back and forth, so that is lost mining time.
Absolutely. And also, you know, he's got a lot of Marines, so he does have the ability to pick those up in a medevac and drop around. And also with the tanks, he's really been favoring that 2 tank drop here at right around this phase of the game, but doesn't look like he's going to try and go for that, as DesRow does have quite a lot of vision out on the map. He's got units in the middle, he's got buildings on the left, and he's been spreading pylons around here just to catch all of the potential paths that medevacs may be taking. So he's going to be moving out here with, it looks like, the same kind of clutch force, but now Yoshi does have his sensor towers up, so he's going to know where these units are coming from, and he's going to have an idea of how to defend those properly. Warp Prism still at the back of the base, kind of taking its trip back home. DesRow just kind of sitting back right now, just kind of macroing up, getting those upgrades. And, I mean, like I said, really, if you just look at the map, this is really probably the best thing he can do. He's covering almost every exit angle from Yoshi's base.
But there are a small group of Marines that are making their way around being chased down by a Dark Templar. So those are known, and they're going to be trying to take down this pylon. They're not going to get very far.
Nope, and those 4 Marines are lunch for that Dark Templar. And again, you know, Yoshi does not know exactly what's out here now. He sees that there's some Stalkers and Immortals, but he's going to go ahead and try and take out the rocks here on the back. These tanks are going to siege up, and I believe they're going to be able to take shots at that Immortal. But man, those shields of those Immortals so strong, can take those tank shots and just keep on going. Is eventually going to take these rocks out. DesRow he's not really going to be able to make an attack up here, but just opening up the paths for later engagements here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just one more avenue that Yoshi has to try and defend now.
And I think that's going to be the strategy going into this, is just to try and I mean, that's honestly what was really effective in the last match, is just trying to spread them out.
Absolutely. DesRow back home, getting more Immortals. He does have Storm researched, and some High Templar are on the map.
Trying to figure out what's going on over here with this Warp Prism and these Stalkers. You kind of blink those Stalkers up to be with the Warp Prism. And maybe you can use a Warp Prism for vision to kind of blink them up into the main, but it is relatively undefended here, but there are lots of missile turrets, and he's going to be able to... Oh, one Immortal does get taken out with the Warp Prism. So these tanks are going to come up here, and the Stalkers are going to be able to blink out relatively easily if he does get out pretty soon. But the tanks, oh my gosh, they're kind of derping up here in the path between the command center and the factory. The Immortal is going to get taken down, and I don't really think much damage is going to be done either way, but he did take out the add-ons on the factories, which is a big deal.
Yeah, and he did miss one.
There's that point defense drone again.
Indeed, indeed. But, I mean, DesRow's vision here is just so insanely good. Every time something comes out of Yoshi's base, he's right on top of it, always has a Dark Templar warped in, or just something coming after it. So he's never really caught off guard by what Yoshi's doing.
Yeah, definitely buckle up here, folks. This looks like it is going to develop into potentially a longer game here. But DesRow going for a large number of Immortals, which is actually, you know, it's pretty good. But still, I mean, there's still a lot of tanks here. And especially if the tanks don't siege up, it's still going to not be super duper effective, especially once the point defense drones come out. You can use other things such as the turrets from the Ravens to kind of interfere with the AI of the Immortals a little bit. But Zeld's going to come in here and try to do a little bit of damage, but the Zeld's running up on the tank, so the splash damage actually going to take out a couple of tanks there.
Yeah.
More, it looks like. But DesRow also coming in here with his Immortal Stalker Force.
Oh, no.
Tanks already sieged up.
Did not get the cancel off on that command center. He was trying to do his classic little command center wall there, but DesRow just right on top of it, moving in there, gets the snipe off. And so Yoshi's kind of got to figure out how to position himself effectively to try and defend his mining bases.
I mean, looking back at what DesRow's been doing really good here, he's been really keeping up with the upgrades. He's got +3 attack coming down now, as well as +2 armor.
So there is a Hellbat drop in the third base of DesRow. It does get cleaned up, but not before doing some damage.
Yeah, it looks like four SCVs killed and now 5 of each SCVs and probes. Oh, but these Archons kind of going the wrong direction there. One does end up taking out, but the shields are able to save the other. So DesRow definitely making several attempts to push in here, but I mean, this map is situated in such a way that there's not really that many super great ground attack paths. You know, now one supply depot is down, so it's going to allow these Zealots and Archons to come on up into the natural expansion here. Really just trying to, Yoshi seems to react with his entire army when he does react, so just trying to pull him back here while the main army here goes up the gut. One Archon out front, nice storm going down on those tanks.
Yeah, really good storm there. I mean, it was done while they were trying to siege too, so there was really no way to move them at all.
I kind of have thought of this a few times. I've never seen anyone do it, and I'm not sure. I've never tried it myself, so I'm not sure if there's something that prevents you from doing it in the game, but you could probably feedback the point defense drones. Yeah?
Maybe, I don't know.
I would like to see that, maybe someone in chat can say, no, you can't do that, because honestly, it's something I've never run into to try. But DesRow here is going to continue poking. He's really kind of committing to this now, going in the third base, blinking forward. Does have the DT kind of getting up on these tanks here, but there is detection given that there's a Raven, and he's going to end up being pushed back by the tanks here once again.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of Immortals, and these Immortals are doing a lot of damage to these tanks. Vikings are moving forward, but there's just not a whole lot for them to do right now.
Thing is, though, the shields are just about depleted on all his Immortals, so every single tank shot doing a lot more damage. And I'm honestly surprised that Yoshi hasn't pulled out the Ghosts yet, given that that's been something he has gone to the last couple of games against Protoss, especially with the EMPs. I mean, some of those EMPs against all the Templar in the previous games have been pretty huge. And that is the third command center that he has not gotten cancels on. So he has been losing resources like crazy in DesRow coming in and just taking out these command centers. And nice feedbacks going down on the Banshees, but once again, he's going to be pushed away by just a handful of tanks here because these Immortals are slightly weakened.
In the meantime, though, there were some Zealots that are now moving into the main base. They were able to break through the supply depot line, and there's really just not a whole lot there to deal with them. Banshees are moving forward to try and take them out, and he's once again targeting reactors and add-ons to all these different Terran buildings, really trying to slow down that production of army.
Okay, so apparently it's confirmed that point defense drones aren't feedbackable, but now the Immortals are encroaching up on these tanks, taking them out one by one. Looks like he will be able to push in and make some headway this time. There are a decent number of Banshees here that are going to be a little bit tough for the Immortals, and that point defense drone is just totally nullifying those Stalkers. But one thing that cannot be nullified by point defense drones are DTs, which are just ravaging the back of the line here, but the Raven is revealing them, and the Banshees are just going to town.
But DesRow continues to move in here. He's just all over the map on all sides, and this containment by Yoshi that he feels most comfortable doing is slowly getting smaller and smaller. And DesRow continuing to push forward. The Banshees doing what they can, blinking forward. Oh my goodness, great storm there on top of all of that, and he just keeps continuing to fly right into it.
There's getting to be a lot of Stalkers here. Originally, he had a lot more Immortals than Stalkers, but now that there have been more those Banshees taken out almost entirely with storms.
Yeah.
And a few from the Stalkers. So, I mean, Yoshi not in a good spot here. The supply is 154, and he's just going to go ahead and GG. So, I mean, definitely a different approach we've seen from DesRow. The big points that I can think of to go back and recap is, one, he had a ton of vision. He had stuff smattered literally all over the entire map, and he went heavier on Immortals.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas in previous games, went more towards Blink Stalkers, went more towards just kind of zealot harassment and whatnot. And he made more sustained pushes with Immortals, and those DTs, I think Yoshi had a little bit of a hard time dealing with. Not so much in that he couldn't reveal them, but in that they were just in a lot of places.
Yeah, they really were. And he was just attacking from every direction at once, too. You know, the Immortals and the Stalkers are coming up the front ramp, but in the meantime, you've got 5 Zealots that are in the back breaking down your supply depots and marching their way in. And as you were saying during the game, Yoshi was responding with the bulk of his army. He was going out of position each time to try and deal with this.
If anything, DesRow may have seen by kind of watching over the shoulder of Yoshi in previous games is that maybe he does move the bulk of his army as a unit rather than kind of separating out and spreading out a bit, because it's definitely something we noticed that he keeps most of his units together. He doesn't, you know, kind of defend certain locations and spread out. He has, you know, he sets up his drops and whatnot so that he can kind of poke and whatnot, but DesRow was definitely pulling him in 2 to 3 different directions, which is making it difficult.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a quick break here while we've got the next lobby getting set up for a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with game number 2 of DesRow versus Yoshi at Youmacon 2014 StarCraft 2.
Stay tuned.